Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. This is Petal. Hope you are having a great weekend so far. As you can see, I am still not over those Miami pictures. I mean, I just love this photo. I think this is probably my favorite photo. Well, gosh. Between that and the bodyguard one, when they look like they just came out of a pricey helicopter strolling down the lawn, or maybe it's the one where Meghan is sort of chilling with Alba and Delphina, and they're sitting there in the back of the car. I mean, it's just like, which one should we choose? I have no idea, but I just absolutely love this photo. It's just like, oh, the joy, the absolute joy. So whatever they're doing today, I just wish them all the joy that's possible under their tree with Archie and Lily. And so, yes, our faves, just wish them love and peace and all the fun things that they're doing. So very excited to see what, as all these things roll out, as Meghan, her food show, whatever it's called, is rolling out. Probably more jams, maybe others posting more photos of the jam, or if they are at other flavors of jam, whatever it is they're about to show us. Very, very, very excited to see. But I'm just so happy that just the joy on their faces. And I'm like, I just wish them that forever. And I wish that for all of us, that all of us have that kind of joy and love and peace in our lives. So what else is happening? Well, of course, Prince Harry is shortlisted for Book of the Year for nonfiction narrative from the British Book Awards. So the bookseller posted it. It says, Prince Harry's Spare is the first memoir from a serving member of the British royal family, published with meticulous planning, with retailer partners and extra tight security, becoming the fastest selling nonfiction hardback since records began. Of course, that tight security kind of went haywire 10 days before the book release, and it was released early in Spain or someplace, and then the British press got a hold of it, made a mess out of it, but whatever, it is the biggest book of ever, really ever, probably under the Bible. And so very happy for Prince Harry. Wouldn't it be amazing, in spite of the fact that the UK has been I would say the majority of the public, but a lot of them, including the press and the government and his royal family, have all been so horrendous to him. Wouldn't it be funny if this is the one that wins Book of the Year? So anyway, it is shortlisted. Kudos to Spare among all the other accolades that is received. Prince Harry, you did good. You did so good, and we all really are so proud of you. I think I speak for all of us here in Sussex Squad. We are so, so, so incredibly proud of you, incredibly proud of Meghan and the kids and everyone who contributed to your book. So very excited to see what would happen there. And talk about, Miami. I guess I should have put this second, but AP has put out their photos of the week, and of course our faves are a part of that. Harry on a horse. I mean, we've talked about that numerous times. Prince Harry, and there's nothing more beautiful than Prince Harry on a horse. It is just, he's whatever he is on a horseback. The most amazing pictures came out. He just has, whether it's his body, whether it's just him, how he blends with the horse, how they just seem to ride in sync. It's kind of like poetry, polo poetry or something. He is just really, I don't know what it is with him on a horse. It's just have incredibly beautiful photos that come out of it. And kudos to the photographers who take those photos, man. They are amazing. And there are others, others that I've shared on this podcast before from just in Miami of Prince Harry and a horse that are equally beautiful. So any of those shots they could have used, but this is beautiful. And of course, Meghan and Serena, photo of the week. Of course, which one do you choose? There were so many beautiful ones of her and Serena, her and Delphina, her and Alba, her and Harry. It's countless. But the one with her and Serena, of course, you pick the GOAT, right? You pick Serena, greatest of all time, tennis greatest of all time. And so this is her and Meghan having some girl time. And you can see little Alba in the background there. Alba is everywhere Meghan is. So, yeah, you see little Alba in the back there with them. So that is her Auntie Meghan. I just love her relationship with Harry and Meghan. It's just pure auntie uncle relationship there. So I love their family. I love the family, how they've built that with Nacho and Delphina and their kids. And so it's wonderful to see. And as Serena says, you can build your family, and it's love there equally as well. So there you go. Talk about Harry going over to Prince Harry and his court cases, his many court cases. This one we heard a little bit. We've talked in the last couple of episodes, talked about Hugh Grant and having to basically being forced into settling his claim with Rupert Murdoch's son and News of the World, who hacked, blagged, broke into his office and all of those things that he is accusing them of doing. And he was forced into settling, even though he didn't want to settle, but because of the way how the system is set up in the UK, where if you are given an offer by the person you're suing, if you refuse that offer, and even if you win the case against that person and the judgment handed down from the judge, if they give you 1 penny less than what that person gave you, you are then liable to pay not only your court fees, but all of that person's court fees as well. And so Hugh Grant's court fees would have gotten up to about 10 million pounds, which, again, Hugh Grant is an actor, but again, people always think actors are very, very rich and all of that stuff, and a lot of them aren't. Hugh Grant is not a young guy, and he does have a family, he does have kids that he has to think about. So does he have $10 million to throw away on a billionaire, even if he wins his case? He doesn't. So it stands to reason that he accepted the offer, and so he is going to send that money into fighting against the Rupert Murdoch Daily Mails of the world. And so he's going to repurpose his money towards that, because as he says, Rupert Murdoch's money comes with a stink smell around the world. And so he's going to repurpose that money into the fight to Hacked Off, which is a news outlet dedicated to fighting tabloids and the way how they brutalize people. And so Harry also is kind of in that same boat. I've seen two things that said that Harry was also offered. I don't have specific information that is absolutely the truth. I do know, quoted as this article says, Rupert Murdoch has been trying to delay this, at least NGN has been trying to delay this case, which is set for January of 2025. And so they filed a motion this week. And this is part of what it says: Harry's privacy case against Murdoch tabloid to proceed as planned. And this was from yesterday. Prince Harry's privacy case has avoided a major delay after London High Court rejected an application by the publisher of Rupert Murdoch-owned British mass market newspaper that could have caused stalled proceedings for 2 years. In total, 42 figures are suing news group newspaper NGN, the publisher of The Sun and the defunct News of the World, over allegations that its journalists or private detectives they contracted have been involved in unlawful activities and invasion of their privacy. The trial, focusing on some of those claims, possibly including Harry's, is due to begin at High Court in London in January next year. But on Wednesday, the publisher NJN applied to have a ruling first on whether some of the lawsuits had been brought outside of the 6-year time limit for legal action. On Friday, the judge, Timothy Fancourt, rejected that application for a preliminary trial, meaning the cases will proceed as planned. So from this and from that ruling, it doesn't say that Harry received an offer and there's possibly not, it could be, who knows, but according to this specific thing that the NGN or Rupert Murdoch's people filed, they wanted to basically, as the article said, wanted basically delay the case for 2 years with this, wanting the judge to go through a process where he decides if some of the cases were brought too late outside of the 6-year limit. And again, that would have delayed the case for about 2 years. And people need to go on with their lives. This stuff should have been wrapped up, a couple of years ago, and it's still going on all this time. So the judge denied that motion. So it's gonna go forward. Hopefully in January, it's still there. And one of the things that Harry and his team also filed a motion to bring Rupert Murdoch in to testify. And I also think Rebecca Brooks is one of the other people to testify to what they did to him. So we are still waiting judgment on that, because it's an amended claim to include Rupert Murdoch and Rebecca Brooks and others. So, and I think it's Rebecca Brooks. I could be wrong, but I think it's Rebecca Brooks. So we're waiting to hear what the judge says on that and if he will allow it. So we will see if he allows it. If they try to give Harry an offer, I'm sure that offer is going to go up, because I'm sure Rupert Murdoch would not want to take the stand. He doesn't want to do it. And that's why they keep paying people off, so that their stink is not exposed to the world. So although just from the allegations alone, if they were guilty, why have they paid out over £1 billion to people? You don't pay £1 billion to people who, if you haven't done anything wrong. So yeah. And so we will see. We'll see what will happen. We'll see if they did, as people say, make an offer, if Harry accepts the offer because of the same situation with Hugh Grant, or we have a court case in January. Something will happen. As soon as it happens, we'll share on here. Anyways, moving forward. Oh God. I saw this and as a photographer, I always say this, we can't make a whole narrative based on still photography, because again, stills is like a millisecond. It could be where you just freeze a frame in the middle of an action. And so it's not fair in the whole situation to paint a whole story, a whole narrative based on a still, because you can get a still photo from any situation. You can have a still photo of somebody looking depressed and their eyes closed. Meanwhile, it was just a blink that the person just blinked, and then the second later they're up and happy and all of those things. And again, so that's why I always guard against not painting a whole narrative from a photo. But this one is hilarious to me, because I saw the video of this. There's a little video, and the whole thing is just awkward and weird, because this guy, he's a chef in the kitchen. He is having to stand back with his hand behind his back and letting this, William, acting like he's chopping something. And this guy had to stand there while this lady explained all the stuff about the charity to him. And I'm sure the charity is fine, and this is not on the charity at all. But it's just the nonsense with the royal family. I'm like, this guy, it looks like it's sort of like a soup kitchen. I mean, in New York, we call it a soup kitchen, or a place where people, they feed people. And I'm sure this guy's like, can I just get to my cooking? People are hungry. Let's just get to cooking and stop this nonsense. And that's what it seemed to me. His whole vibe is like, can you just get out of my kitchen? Get out. I mean, you can see the shoulder, the bottom picture with the head leading, and it's just like, get him out of here. And he's trying to motion to someone to get him out. It's just my imagination is going around, but this guy's just, his whole vibe is like, oh, why? And it's the same thing I have to ask, why? None of these visitors doing anything for the charity. Yes, people may have know about it, but it doesn't really do much. I mean, this is just about William. This ain't about the charity. So if you look at all the coverage of this is mostly about William, not the charity. And so, and also people have been laughing at the fact that William is holding a hot pot or supposedly hot pot. And it's like, when I looked at the video of another pot that was boiling, you couldn't see the flames either. So I was like, okay, I give the flames a pass. Maybe it's on low, but again, there's no steam coming up there. And you can tell it's not hot because William is holding the pot. Those kind of pots, you won't be able to hold it if it's really hot. So maybe there's mixing up stuff to then put on. Well, I mean, if you look on the dial, the knobs, I mean, I can't really read it well, but one of them is on, and I have to believe is the pot in the back that's probably on. You can see that it's sort of turned a little bit, and the other one, that maybe the front one, that's off. But it's just William. And some people are like, how is he that close to the stove? Why would he? But when you look at the video, again, it's a freeze frame, a freeze of the video. So 1 minute he's kind of close, but then he kind of, his body goes back a little bit from it. So again, I give a pass to those things. But it's just, for me, it's just the nonsense of it. It's just like, just stop doing this other thing, because none of it rings true. And again, this guy's whole vibe is like, get out of my kitchen. I need to feed people. I can't have time for this nonsense. But even, part of the little video that I saw, I mean, he was smiling to someone for like a second off camera. So he wasn't all just get out. But I mean, on a whole, the whole vibe is, can we just either get out or hurry this up so I can get back to my cooking? So yeah. And on top of that, I mean, I saw a photo of William with a hairnet and then this with it without whatever. But for me, it's just the whole narrative thing. The whole thing is just like, anyways, moving on. And some people have mentioned, Meghan is doing a cooking show. So of course, William has to do a cooking show. Of course. I mean, of course. He's competition is always the thing. And then thank you, not my king, for posting this, because I started laughing when I saw this, like hot and heavy. William holding a supposed hot pot, and then Kate Middleton over here pretending the box with her heels and poofy dress is heavy, and you're like, oh gosh, guys, seriously, you really think so? I think what they did was empty the box, retape it, and to make her look like she is carrying a heavy box. And it's like, oh, the fakery of it all. It's just all fake, I saw it, and then I saw this, and this the laugh that I needed for today. I've never seen this account before, but I just thought it was really funny. Maybe a squatty, and I just never paid attention. So it's called Harry Will Have All the Fun Then. It's a brewer lack. I don't know how she says it. He or she says it, but it says Prince William tried and failed to overshadow a jar of jam. Because, as we said in the last podcast, people have been going crazy over jam. Like, I've never heard people, this has made international news. And I'm like, people, it's just jam. Really, that's all it is jam. And so, so this has made international news. And so Harry will have all the fun then, which is obviously, you remember, it's a quote from Princess Diana when William was being a brat, and Princess Diana was like, well, fine, you don't have to come, but Harry will then have all the fun. And then he's like, no, running off, and because obviously, even as a child, he did not want Harry having the fun. So they posted this, and I don't know if it was created by them or not, but they posted this, and I appreciated it so much. I was like, I have to share it. It says, how William couldn't overshadow a jar of jam. And these are the points. Prince William went back to work yesterday, kind of, in a transparent attempt to overshadow a jar of jam. He previously tried to overshadow Prince Harry and Princess Meghan at their polo fundraiser using his son George, even bringing the boy into a pub. I didn't know that part. I hadn't seen anything about that, so I have to go research anything about him bringing George into a pub. I was like, oh, what? Anyways, moving on, it says, when that attempt failed, Willie set his sights somewhat lower, but he was no match for the Jam, who effortlessly garnered millions of dollars worth of free publicity. One source claimed, Willie is absolutely incandescent with rage. He blamed his team and spent a good hour screaming at them for letting him go up against Strawberry Jam. He feels he should have known this was one he wouldn't win. Oh, the Jam was approached for comments, but it didn't respond. Perhaps because it couldn't, because it's Jam, incapable of speech or thought. I love our humor. I love it. I love the source quote. He blames his team and spent a good hour screaming at them for letting him go up against Strawberry Jam. Quote, source. I love it. I absolutely love it. I am just loving this whole Jam issue. It is just crazy. It is funny. It is ridiculous in every sense of the word. And I'm just like, you know what? Whatever. Anyways, moving on. Staying on Prince William and his, well, shall we say his people who are like the fly being in caca as usual. We remember these headlines. Prince William's aide played a key role in Harry and Meghan's royal exit. Simon Case, who was Prince William's private secretary. Yes. And also this one. So this was in April in 2024. And so they've, the Times wrote about it. And even earlier, Camilla Tominey in the Telegraph wrote about Simon Case and his exploits as Prince William's private secretary, who basically threw Harry and Meghan under the bus. Well, Simon Case, as Harry says, is always in some form of caca, whether he's in the royal family or he is in government. And case in point, Simon Case, talk about case in point, Simon Case is in more caca as usual. And this time, it will be very familiar as I read. So I'm going to read some clips from this article. Actually, I'm going to read some clips from the Standard. Instead of the Telegraph, I want to give Telegraph nothing. But I will use their headline, though. Simon Case allowed unrelenting and systemic racism to run rampant in cabinet office. Oh, really? You mean the same Simon Case who was part of the royal household that bullied Meghan and racially bullied her and then attacked her and called her the bully? That's Simon Case? You don't say. You don't say. Well, the Standard and just about every other in the UK what have been reporting this last couple of days. The Cabinet Office under top Downing Street aide Simon Case has been accused of a hostile, racist working environment by a former official who says she was forced out of her job. And the article goes on to say the Cabinet Office under top Downing Street aide Simon Case has been accused of hostile racist working environment by an official who was forced out of a job. Rola Amar accused officials at the heart of Boris Johnson's government of bullying, discrimination, and gaslighting as she made allegations of systemic racism in 2021 and 2022. So I'm going to continue reading clips of it. That's obviously not on the screen. Cabinet Office fiercely denied allegations throughout the course, calling them completely unfounded. In her original claim to the tribunal, Ms. Amar, a former Treasury civil servant, wrote, I was forced to resign by the hostile racist working environment. She suggested she was dropped from the immigration task force role after attempting to bring forward more compassionate policies. Ms. Amar, who is Egyptian and French dual heritage, names Mr. Case in her claims, saying her grievances were ignored by managers and alleging Case, a top civil servant in the cabinet, failed to protect her. Hello. In its defense to the case, it insists that Miss Amar was removed from one of her roles due to her own alleged negative and problematic behaviors towards colleagues, and insists a string of grievances lodged by Miss Amar were properly handled. Another clip of the article says, according to her pleaded case, she claimed she was belittled and humiliated by senior managers while working on the conference. She was allegedly singled out for criticism, and she says a reference to was made to English being her third language. Miss Amar says she was increasingly bullied by the managers, and she claimed she did not bully white staff. That's right. Her court filing is that she was bullied. What did they turn around and say? They turn around and accuse her of bullying. Sounds familiar? Sounds familiar? Anyways, going on. Miss Amar says she was increasingly bullied by the manager, and she claimed she did not bully white staff. She accused a second manager of rude, condescending, and a hostile behavior of gaslighting her, and she claimed she was dubbed a drama queen. Sounds familiar? Miss Alma says she was abruptly dropped from the task force after being accused of bullying, an allegation she denied, and ultimately says she had to resign from the civil service in July 2022 as she believed her career had been stunted. The mutual trust and benefit which I needed to have the benefit of as a civil servant had been eroded and poisoned by the cabinet office, she says. Once the poison is within the civil service system, there is no antidote and no safe harbor aside from leaving that vocation. Sounds familiar? She told the tribunal none of the senior civil service leaders had intervened to support me. Instead, they appeared to be watching matters from the sideline, supporting the hostility they could see and knew was being targeted against me. The government argued Ms. Anwar was removed from immigration task force due to her conduct towards her colleagues, which was negative and problematic, leading colleagues to feel disrespected, overburdened, and undermined. It says Ms. Bork asked her after he received concerns about behavior of the claimant that amounted to bullying. Sounds familiar? As part of her claim, Ms. Anwar cited the 2022 report about allegations of bullying and racism in the cabinet office, with 1 in 10 staffers saying that they had experienced victimization. So a lot of this stuff, I mean, if we go back to whether it's Valentine Lowe or Robert Lacey's book about all those attacks on Meghan and charges that she bullied staff and all of that stuff, so many of the language in there is so similar to what you see in this one. And it's very, very interesting that the same person, one person, is the common denominator in all of this, Simon Case. It's just it is just astounding to me that in any of these things like this, Simon Case is always at the center of all of this. And one cannot forget that would be Queen Camilla up there with her bee and fly badges, the bee and the fly, as Prince Harry's book. Camilla is up there proudly displaying her support for the bee and the fly. That's right, the bee. Sir Edward Young and the Fly, Simon Case, always in caca. Yep, that's where we are, folks. Anyways, away from Shutter Island and their mess, and back to our faves. Jam! Oh, brother-in-law Nacho, loving Meghan and loving her jam and supporting Meghan. And he says, "Did I tell you I love your jam?" Oh, and I love all their jams. I mean, that photo, hello. And Church Nelly, yes, that's Nacho up there, but that ring. Eating his jam. Oh, so happy to see them supporting Meghan and Harry, and as in this case, Meghan's her jam. So again, who knows when the jam is going to be on the market, but it seems the royal world and international press have nothing else better to do with their day, so they are covering Jam. So there we go. That's where we are, folks. And I love it. Look, squad for squaddies, we're not complaining. Y'all go with your Jam. And yes, I know all the drama in the UK. If unless the Sussexes touch it, I'm not giving these people any attention that they don't deserve. So if the Sussexes do something about it, I'm gonna talk about it. If not, we're not touching it. We're just letting, which I believe stuff happened because royal reporters set that whole mess up. So if the Sussexes don't touch it, neither will I. So anyways, that's it, folks. Leaving you with Jam, strawberry jam, that is. And I hope we're all having a jamming day, according to our Jamaican friends. We jamming, we jamming. We're jamming. Is that the song? I don't know. I think it's called We're Jamming. I don't know. That's all I know. But anyways, in Montecito under their tree, Harry and Meghan, our faves, are jamming. Strawberry jamming, that is. So anyways, love you guys. Thank you so much to our awesome moderators. Lydia, Church Nelly, Karen M, Cookies and Cream, Black Queen, you are awesome. Thank you so much for all that you do to support the channel. Thank you so much to our awesome 2 Cents crew who support the channel on a monthly basis, and all you wonderful, wonderful supporters who support in the chat, whether it's super thanks, super stickers, donations, whether you support on PayPal or Cash App. You are amazing. Thank you so much for your amazing, amazing, amazing support. Anyway, guys, I love you all. Have a fantastic, fantastic day, and I shall chat with you later. Bye.